What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at doing a few different CPU builds, a few different gaming PC builds, especially as we go into Black Friday and the holidays. It's a great time to snag deals on things, and especially with the prices of RAM and SSDs going crazy, right when we thought it was over with the graphics cards earlier this year. It's definitely important to save money where you can when looking at getting a new PC, and Black Friday and Prime Day are usually great times to do it. So we're gonna build or price out 3 different PCs at 3 different price points. We're gonna do $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000 to see what you can sneak in at each price point. So we'll start right now with a $1,000 build. We'll start with the CPU. And my goal with all these builds is to be on the latest hardware. I hate to build a new PC and be getting, previous gen hardware. If you're gonna go that route, I think you should maybe consider going to like Facebook Marketplace or eBay and see if you can get like even better deals on that stuff. But if we're building a new PC, I'd, really recommend starting on the latest generation hardware. And for CPUs right now, the pretty much clear-cut choice is AMD. So really at $1,000 price point, we want to be looking at the 6-core option, which is either the 7600X or the 9600X. And the price difference between the two is $4. So we're going to go with the 9600X. And let's see if there's any. It's actually more expensive right now to buy a 9600. Make that make sense. Doesn't make any sense. So we'll go with the 9600X. And then motherboard, we need to go with a ATX or MATX option. And we want to make sure that we have Wi-Fi because we're going into 2026 and everything should have Wi-Fi. And let's see what our options are here. Cheapest one, ASRock, 93 bucks. It's a pretty ugly motherboard, nothing special there. And we got Gigabyte. Let's see here. No integrated I/O. Nothing too special there. I'd love to have 2 things when I'm looking at motherboards, nice to haves. I'd like dual 8 pins. At this price point, we probably won't get that. I'd like to have an M.2 heatsink, which this one provides. And then I'd like to have an integrated I/O back here so that you don't have to pop it on. It's not the end of the world if you do, but definitely nice to have. You spend $1,000 on something, you want it to be, premium. So this is by no means a premium PC, but it's still going to be nice and it's going to do everything you need it to do. This will, browse YouTube, Excel, schoolwork. It'll do, gaming really well, and it'll dip its toes into, some creative work, video editing, stuff like that. So definitely getting up into that, that world. We have one here, M.2 heatsink from MSI. It's got a 8+4, which is totally fine. Does not have an integrated I/O. Also doesn't have USB-C on the back here. Not necessarily the end of the world there, but that's an option at $120. Let's see here. Here's one from ASRock. Another 8+4 M.2 heatsink. This one looks, has an integrated I/O, and it has a USB-C and BIOS flashback. This is actually a pretty darn good motherboard option here. 2.5 gig Ethernet on this. That's $130. Is there anything that we can see that's like much nicer in a similar price? Ooh. Now check this one out. This one is 8+4 again, 2, maybe 3 M.2 spots for heat sinks. It's got USB-C, a ton of USB-A ports. I can't tell what Ethernet that is. And if that's BIOS flashback or not. Let's see here. 3 M.2 slots, 2.5 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6E. This is a pretty darn good option here. Okay, so that's 135. If you wanted to go with a white build, white builds are tough at $1,000 just because everything that like white for whatever reason, like it's just always more expensive. 150 bucks here. We got one 8-pin for the CPU. Doesn't show us anything else on this one. Let's see here. We really can't go above 150 on this. I think honestly this one's the call. I think this has everything we need. It's MATX, this would be like a smaller build and it's only 130 bucks. We need to save as much as we can on all the parts we can. And this one too, you can always check the pricing history on PCPartPicker, which is great. Because then you know like, okay, you're not buying it like some crazy spike, you know, where it's like at an all-time high in price. This one's actually on sale right now for 130 versus 187. So this is, you know, 58 bucks off. So that's a good deal. We'll snag that one. Let's choose our graphics card next. So we're probably at this price point either looking at a 5060 Ti or a 9060 XT. We'll put some, we'll put some other ones in there just in case there's any crazy deals, but I doubt it. Price it low to high. And let's go with a minimum of 16 gigs of VRAM. Does it have an option to filter by that? It doesn't, that's weird. Okay, well, the cheapest one we can get for 16 gigs of VRAM is this Power Color. Next one up after that is the XFX 5060 Ti, 8 gigs. Damn, NVIDIA is just not giving away VRAM, that's for sure. The cheapest 5060 Ti 16 gig is $429.99. We're definitely not gonna do that. We'll go with the 9060 XT. This Power Color one is $350. Decent looking, all black. It's gonna be fine. All right, so we have 330 bucks to play with here. So memory prices right now are absolutely insane. It's just crazy. I mean, if you look at a 2x16 kit, the cheapest kit you can get right now is $200, which is just so sad. It's insane what pricing has gone through the roof on those. So we're gonna be looking at 16 gigs at this price point. And if you can spring it, definitely go for 32. Look at Facebook Marketplace, see if you can find somebody getting rid of an old kit at a good price. But I would say RAM prices will hopefully come back to earth at some point. And you can either start with 16 and upgrade later, or you know, buy 32 if you can absolutely spring it. But for just gaming, especially in 1080p and 1440p, it's probably gonna be okay. And you can upgrade later if you want. So looking here, we're looking for something that has lower first word latency. And we're gonna have something that's in stock. And the best one value-wise is this one. It's first word latency of 12. So it's a 6000 CL36 kit. Patriot Viper is gonna be the one to go with here. So that's $100. Okay, we'll go with an M.2 now. We're gonna go with a Gen 4, probably about 1000 gigs, a terabyte. Sort low to high. And this MSI one would have been nice for $65, but it's out of stock. So we will probably be going. Western Digital one's out of stock too. Probably be going with this this Lexar one here. That's $74 for a terabyte, Gen 4. We'll take it. Okay, we're at 843 at $160 left. Power supply. We want to go with something that's at least gold rated, and then we want to go with something that's fully modular. You don't want the ones where they're built in. Okay, we'll sort low to high here. Sama, I don't know this brand. I'm gonna ignore this. I always try to go with reputable brands on things whenever possible. Let's see if anyone stands out down here. Seasonic is a fantastic power supply brand. This one's $87. It's on $20 promo. Ends today. So hopefully they extend this promo, but for $87, that's a great deal. We'll do with no promo pricing though, and see if there's something else out there. I really like Be Quiet stuff, as you guys have probably seen if you've watched any of my videos before. I swear by Be Quiet, they make fantastic products and they're really premium. So see if they have anything that is in our realm here. Let's see here, Be Quiet. It's the cheapest Be Quiet. Got a 750 Be Quiet for 98 and a Be Quiet 850 for 109. And then a 750 Platinum for 120. Can we fit a 120 Platinum in there? I mean, that's overkill. We don't really need a Platinum. All right, I'd say our best bet is to go with the 750 for $100. And it looks like it's been at 100 or lower. You can catch it $5 less than that for some time now. So we'll go with this one. Does it have it has the latest connector on there. So can't go wrong with Be Quiet. Okay. All right, we got $58 left, and we need a case and a cooler. So it's not looking good for our $1,000 price point here. Let's see here. Definitely want. What's the cheapest Leon Lee case? $62 for that. Cheapest $60 for that. Montech usually makes some cheap ones. $55. Corsair, $49. Interesting. It's kind of like the 011 Mini. That's an option for $50. Here's the Airflow version. Also $50. It's $100 off promo code. Wow, they are blowing these things out. Makes you wonder why nobody wants to buy it. Crazy. Fantex, $60. Well, if we're paying $60 for a case, I really like this H3 from NZXT. I think that's probably what we'll go with. So now we're at $1,000, and we still need to get a CPU cooler. We're gonna be looking air cooler at this point. We're probably gonna want a Thermalright. Like, they make the best value performance coolers. Here's an air cooler, 18 bucks. Here's a Peerless Assassin. It's actually pretty good looking too. Would you have one of these in a build? That's a pretty good looking cooler. That's cool. Yeah, we'll go with this one. This one is 24 bucks. Boom. So we're over by 25 bucks. Obviously this doesn't include tax. So you're really gonna be looking, you know, depending on your region, more like $1,100 on this. You know, you could have probably built this a few months ago with 32 gigs instead of 16 for this same price. But all things considered, I think for $1,025, this is gonna be a really nice PC. At some point in the future, you'll add a couple more case fans, like these Pure Wings from Be Quiet. They're great fans. You could throw, you know, 2 of those in the front and 1 in the rear with your air cooler for an extra 30 bucks. And you're gonna have a really nice, clean, quiet PC that does everything you want. You got 16 gigs of VRAM. You're gonna be able to game on this, no problem. So that would be what I'd recommend for the $1,000 price point. And so now we'll move into the $2,000 price point, where you're able to, you know, stretch your legs in some categories here and really get, you know, nice bang for the buck. So at 2,000 bucks, I think we want to be looking at either the 7800 X3D and the 9800 X3D. And as we move into this, Intel chips are fine too, but they're just not quite as good for gaming right now, and they're no better value. Like, if you get an Intel chip for crazy cheap, like, you know, 265K, which actually is that's a pretty good deal. If you are going to be using it more for like video editing and things like that, having a 20-core CPU where you can take advantage of that, you know, that's a fantastic deal at 300 bucks. But if you are gaming focused, I think a 7800 or 9800 X3D would be, you know, suit you better. You're paying an extra 100 bucks for it. Even if, you know, so if you want to keep it at 300 bucks, and you went with like a 9700X, this thing is awesome for gaming still. It's not a 3D chip, but 312 bucks at the same price point. So I'd say that's where the 265K kind of competes with. But another thing you get by going with AMD is just the longevity of the platform. It's probably going to be around a few more years. I don't really know if Intel is going to, you know, usually every 2 generations of Intel chips, they discontinue the platform, the motherboard, so you have to buy a new motherboard. And it sounds like they might do it after just 1 generation with the latest one. So to be seen there. I'm more comfortable recommending AMD in these builds. So we'll go with the 7800 X3D on this one, and then we'll go with like a $250-ish motherboard here. We'll go ATX. We want it to have Wi-Fi. We want it to be ATX. Okay. So let's see here. There's an Asus Tough Gaming B650, 1 M.2. I'd like it to have a, you know, this $2,000 build, slightly more premium, dual 8 pins, full, you know, more than just 1 M.2 heatsink. Here's one from MSI, and I've built with these before. They're great. It's got 2 dual 8 pins. It's got multiple SSD heat sinks. It's got Wi-Fi. It's got a ton of USB-C, and it's $189 right now. And it's been as high as 210-ish. Even before that was higher than that. So right now at 189, we're looking good. We're gonna go with that. Okay. Now we'll look at memory. This is this is the tough part. At $2,000 build, you're definitely gonna want at least 32 gigs of memory. We're gonna put first word latency. Before I would have never recommended more than 10, but now with things, we're gonna go up to 12. And we're gonna go low to high. And then you really don't need anything more than 6,000 with these AMD CPUs. We'll go 6,400 because I know most of them will support that these days. And I'll see what we have. Should we do a white build? We could do an all white build at $2,000. That might be kind of cool. Now it looks like there's some options here. This Clev all white. That's not bad looking. 215. There's a 5600 CL30. It's actually pretty good. There's 6400 Kingston Fury. 210. That's out of stock. Really? Of course it is. 6000 CL32. That's pretty darn good. 215. We'll go with that one. Let's see if we can get a white motherboard. We'll go with the all white build and see if we can do that all for $2,000. Aorus Wi-Fi. This thing's pretty good looking here. It's got Wi-Fi 7. Asus B650A. It's another really good looking one. It's got 2 dual A pins. I love Asus boards. How much is this one? $219? Okay. Done deal. We'll go with that one. We're committing to it. Alright, what kind of graphics card can we fit in at the $2,000 price point? We're probably going to be looking at either a 9070 XT or a 5070 Ti. Sort price low to high. You can get right now, you can get 9070 XT Steel Legend for $620. That's a pretty good deal there. And you can get this one, $679. This one looks pretty sweet too. I like the look of this better than the other one. That's pretty cool. This person went all out. That's pretty cool. I think this looks super clean. So let's go with this one. That's cool. So we'll add that one. Okay. Now we got $400 to finish everything. We'll go with like a H5 flow on this one. H5 in white, $85. That's a good deal. Power supply. We want a white power supply. Here's an MSI 850, all white. Has white cables too, which you'll love to see it. That's an option. Can we sort by white? Yes. Lian Li Edge Platinum. Okay. We want it to be at least 850 on this build. Let's see here. Gigabyte, no. ASRock, no. Lian Li. Here's a Lian Li. 850. $120. Lian Li, what is this? 142. Don't really want to spend that much. They don't make one. We'll go with this Lian Li for 850 bucks. It's a platinum, 850 for 120. Okay. Then storage, we're gonna go with probably 2 terabytes on this build. Gen 4 is plenty. And we're gonna load high. 120 bucks. Western Digital, that's a pretty darn good deal there. Gotta buy it from SanDisk though. Or we could go with Crucial P310 for 135. Like that. Alright, we'll do that. Okay. Now we need a CPU cooler. We want it to be a 240 for this. Sort low to high. We want it to be white. I think you can get like a Kraken with a screen on it for a pretty good deal, I think I saw. So, let's see here. Here we go, Kraken 240. You can get the Corsair one too with the screen. How much is this Kraken now? I wanted to be under 100 bucks. Yeah, was this on sale recently? Yeah, Newegg had this on sale for $89. Literally 2 days ago when I was looking, and now it's 140. So that would be a good one if you could get that on sale. But we can get the Arctic liquid freezer for 70 bucks, which will cool it just as nice and it'll look really good while doing it. And then now here we are, we're at 1917, and this is the point where you would add like some nice cable extensions and some better case fans. So for the case fans, we can go with those Pure Wings again in white. And here they are, they're 14 bucks each. We'll go with 4 of those. And then if there's room, you can use the ones that come with the cooler if you want. You can go with, what if they have a non-RGB version of this? You could go with, you know, some Pure Wings or, you know, the Silent Wings Pros up top as well for that. Let's see if there's a cheaper. No, there's no non-RGB version in white. It's cheaper. So that's what we're gonna go with. So yeah, so this is our $2,000 build. You get a 7800 X3D, a 9070 XT, 32 gigs of RAM, and this thing's gonna be awesome. And next would be our $3,000 build, right? So this is gonna be much more premium in terms of, you know, you get a little bit nicer CPU, probably a slightly nicer graphics card. You can probably go with a 5080 at this price point. And then everything else just kind of, you know, slightly nicer power supply. It might not directly lead to better performance, but it's just gonna be a little bit more high end. And on this one, I'd like to go with a 9800 X3D. And then for graphics card, I'd like to go with a 5080. And you can get a bunch around the $1,100 or $1,200 price point. This MSI one's always pretty cool. And that's actually more expensive right now. You could have got that $1149 a few weeks ago. So pay attention to the pricing, guys, on like when you can get something. But this one right here for $1,000, it's gonna just be your basic all black PNY. But I mean, it looks pretty cool. He must have changed out the stickers on there. Let's see. Here's somebody else who kind of went with like a wood trim on one. That's pretty cool. This is my style, silent black box. So yeah, so we'll go with this PNY 5080. If you have budget left over and you want to go with something and you splurge a little bit nicer, once you get up into these higher price points, there's more personality into it. You don't have to make as many sacrifices, so you can just like get whatever you want, you know, in terms of like if you want a 5080, you know, yes, $1,000 5080 is going to perform pretty much the same as a $1,400 5080, but it's more about like what you want to have in there. Motherboard, we'll go with an Asus because I like them. See if we can get like a Strix board in here. This tough Wi-Fi B850E though is, I thought it had more heat sinks than that. Use the X670 gaming Wi-Fi, the 319. Here's an 870E for $399. Really nice board. Okay. All right, let's see here. Memory, we're gonna want to go with 32 gigs again. Okay, low to high. Let's go with a like 60 up to 6400. Let's try to go no more than 10. What's in stock here? 12 bolt, 6000 CL30. That's gonna work fine for this build. And we'll go with another 2 terabyte. See if we can get a slightly faster drive in this. G500, 159. This is like pretty much the fastest Gen 4 drive, or one of the fastest Gen 4 drives that you can get. Again, it was a little cheaper a few weeks ago before SSD and RAM prices started going crazy, but it hasn't gone too nuts. These are $159.99 right now. So go with that. Two, with these, if you can go with a boot drive as well as a, you know, one drive just for your operating system and some files and another one for your games and stuff like that. That's how I have mine. We'll see if we can fit it out. We might drop this later. We'll put a 500 gigabyte one on there as well. Power supply. This is where, you know, when you power on a really nice system, you want to go with a really nice power supply. So like Be Quiet's Dark Power line is a really good one. Seasonic makes great ones. You can go with a 1000 watt one right here. They're brand new, Dark Power 14. Throw that on there for 2500. We need a case. Cases, you know, this is completely up to you and how you want to spec out your case and how you want yours to look. Me, I am plain and simple. I'm actually about to do a build with this case here coming soon. Super clean. This is like the North, but just more of like a minimal design to it without the wood on the front. So I think that's a great option there. So we got our case. Now we need a CPU cooler. And since this is gonna be like a, you know, all blacked out look to it, we'll go with the Be Quiet stuff. And voila, we'll add a couple of case fans in here. We'll go with the Silent Wings Pro. We'll do 4 of those. So there you go. So this is a, you know, pretty much best you can get for 3,000 bucks. You could obviously, you know, still save some off of this. You don't have to have a separate boot drive for the $80. You could save that right there. You could go with cheaper case fans. You don't have to do this. You could get a slightly cheaper power supply than this. You could save 25 bucks and go with a cheaper case there. You get slightly cheaper, you know, 2 terabyte drive like we did in the $2,000 build. But at that $3,000 price point, you know, you get a nicer motherboard, you get slightly nicer cooler, you know, you get faster drives, you get a nicer power supply, you get, you know, nicer, quieter fans. So you do get some things. It's not necessarily raw performance that you gain by going up to that price point. Obviously, we went from a 7800X3D to a 9800X3D, and we went from a 9070 XT to a 5080. So you are getting some performance, but there's also, you know, some other things that you get along with it. And I think that this is a really solid build for 3,000 bucks that you'd be really, really happy with. So I'll link all these builds down below in the description if you guys want to, you know, pull them up and just monitor the prices over the Black Friday holiday and see if you can score a steal on any of these. You know, there might be some deals coming up on some of these options. There probably won't be for RAM or for the SSDs, but the rest of these options, motherboards, CPUs, coolers, cases, things like that, you probably will be able to store or to score some deals there. So keep that in mind as you're shopping. But anyways, I hope this helps, guys. If you are shopping over the holidays and looking to pick something up, I hope this helps you out. If you have any questions or you are going to build something like this, leave me a comment down below in the comment section. Really appreciate you guys watching, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.